Same with my brother. He had all the symptoms, but the doctor was like, oh, you don't have a tick bite, you don't remember having a tick bite, and there's no rash. It's not Lyme disease. End of story. Move the fuck on. I kid you not, about every 30 to 35 minutes, I would look over my shoulder and my brother wouldn't be there. I'd backtrack a little bit, he'd be laying in the grass somewhere taking a nap.
Little world.
No joke, he did that. Will White here, Pike Antler Survival School. Here with a very informal video about health, physical health, Lyme disease. This video, I'm gonna sum it up first and then go into it. I believe I have Lyme disease. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you some symptoms so you can be prepared to face this or to start asking questions if you start feeling any of these symptoms, okay? First, I wanna say I'm a United States Army veteran of war. What that means is I go to the VA for medical care. And what that means, if you're a veteran, you know, I have called, but yo, I think I blew out my MCL. I'm like, all right, we'll see you in a month. You know, that's kind of an emergency. So it's not the easiest to get care. So I pretty much like, you know what, I'm gonna self-diagnose and go from there. I did talk to the doctor about 3 weeks ago, went for the annual checkup, and I told him, yeah, I had a tick bite on the back of my head. I don't know if it was a deer tick or not. I've been feeling a little tired. And he was like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Here's some doxycycline, antibiotics, just in case. Take them if you want. If you don't, store them, whatever. So I collected the medicine and just started finally using it 3 days ago. So that's the summary. I don't have blood work to say I do have Lyme disease or not, but I'm gonna tell you a story and hopefully this will kind of fill things in. A few years ago, I was taking my older brother hunting and we were in central North Carolina. It was a couple days before scouting or hunting season. So we had a couple days to go scout, pick an area to hunt, right? So we're doing the old traditional stuff, you know, walking, looking for rubs, scrapes, scat, footprints, food sources, water sources, all that. So as we're walking through the woods, you know, following these trails, I kid you not, about every 30 to 35 minutes, I would look over my shoulder and my brother wouldn't be there. I'd backtrack a little bit, he'd be laying in the grass somewhere taking a nap. No joke, he did that, I'm gonna say 5, maybe 6 times within a 4-hour period. That's a lot. And he said that's been normal lately over the past few months. Extreme fatigue, like constantly having to take a nap. He's a very healthy individual, healthier than I am, more active than I am, eats better than I am. I'm pretty healthy. So for him to be like hit like that, something's definitely up. Another thing that he doesn't know I know, but apparently anyone that watches this video is now gonna know. I was talking to my mom about, you know, how's my brother doing? You know, he seems kind of off. And she's like, Lord, honey, child, he's been talking to me a lot. He's been calling, just emotional, just kind of an emotional wreck, just like a mess, a sobby, wet mess of just tears and confusion, just emotional, super emotional, and like uncontrollable. Now, my brother and I are very similar. We're very masculine, kind of type A alpha types. You know, we're not super mushy gushy. You know, we got no problems with showing emotions and sharing emotions, but it's not really in our nature. We're just generally more stoic. And, you know, that's just kind of us. So for him to be this emotional mess was very abnormal. And again, I'm sharing all this stuff with you, so if you start displaying any of these signs and symptoms, you can start suspecting possibly Lyme disease. So you have one option to start attacking. And if it is Lyme disease and you get blood work, like, you're gonna be glad you caught that in time. If you get blood work done and it's not Lyme disease, like, okay, that's just one more thing off the list. So it doesn't hurt to listen, but I'm emphasizing our personalities so that if you are an emotional wreck 24/7 anyway, you always have been, don't think you have Lyme disease. It's, you know, if something changes and all of a sudden you're feeling these symptoms. So having observed that, in all the time I spend in the woods, and I get ticks, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I get tick bites 2 or 3 times a year probably. Generally it's not deer ticks, but I'm not ashamed of that. I should be more prepared. I should have tick spray. I'm learning my lesson slowly but surely. I'm a stubborn individual. So based on all that, about 4.5, 5 weeks ago, I had this paranoid feeling that I pulled the tick off the back of my head. Like I felt it crawling and I grabbed it and I was like, oh, all right, that's a tick. And then I was like, oh, paranoid now. Because I got long hair. It's hard to find, you know. But I was palpating or feeling around the back of my head, and sure enough, there was a tick. Had to have my girlfriend take it off. My hair's too thick. You know, we checked. It's hard to see my scalp through all this mess. But no visible rash, and that's one of the big symptoms. And I'm going to go over symptoms here in a minute. So I didn't have any visual symptoms. Primary one is a rash, a bullseye, up to a foot wide. That's pretty big. I mean, that's a big deal. That's pretty much worst case scenario. So what happens is you get a tick bite, let's say here, and then instead of just a rash blossoming fully, it'll just have a ring, and then it'll have a bigger ring, and then a bigger ring, and then a bigger ring. So it's a bullseye. So that's one of the easiest ways to identify Lyme disease or start identifying it is 1, tick bite, 2, bullseye rash. Okay, so those are your 2 big red flags. You got a tick bite, and it's a deer tick. Next thing you're going to look out for is the bullseye. So what's the difference between a regular tick and a deer tick? I don't know like the scientific differences. I can tell you how to identify it though, because that's what really matters. Generally, ticks are kind of brown. A deer tick that carries Lyme disease, all the paperwork and all the research says only deer ticks carry Lyme disease. Deer ticks grow quick, just like all ticks. Once they latch on to their host, I mean, they like almost double in size every other day. It's pretty impressive how fast they grow. But the deer tick will have a black shield, kind of like behind its neck. They're not built like us, so it's kind of like a neck, right, kind of between the neck and the shoulders, or between the head and the shoulders. You'll have a black shield, and it'll be a reddish brown tick. So reddish brown, black shield. Reddish brown, black tick. Jesus. Reddish brown, black shield. Okay. My symptoms, over the past month, I have not given a fuck to a dangerous level. I got my stuff. I got PTSD. It gets in my head sometimes. I got to manage that shit. But this was like 2 or 3 levels past that. Like, hey, you want to go for a walk? I don't give a fuck. You want to eat? I don't give a shit. You want to go do that job you did the other day? You want to go teach a survival class? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. I don't care. If I have to, I guess, but I don't care. Like, nothing. Like, I was, like, there's numb, and then there's, like, absence of anything. Right? Numb, you can still feel numb. But below that, there's, like, nothing. It's like an ocean that just dried up, and there's, like, nothing. And after three weeks, I was like, all right, dude, something is up. Maybe my sleep pattern was off. Maybe this, maybe that. I don't know. I started fasting around the same time I had the tick bite. So I thought maybe it's just fasting. But I stopped that about a week ago and still feel exactly the same. I'm all of a sudden sleeping like almost 12 hours a day if I can. And still just wanting more and more sleep. I just sleep. That's all I think about, sleep. I just want to sleep. And I don't give a shit about anything else. No rash. No visible rash. No lump on my head. Same with my brother. He had all the symptoms, but the doctor was like, oh, you don't have a tick bite, you don't remember having a tick bite, and there's no rash. It's not Lyme disease. End of story. Move the fuck on. After months of him suffering, long story short, he demanded blood work, and sure enough, he had Lyme disease, and the doctor was like, oh, well, shit. So you don't have to have the rash to have Lyme disease. I don't have it. He didn't have it. He had Lyme disease. I'm confident I do. Biggest thing for me so far is I had a tick bite. Pretty sure it was a deer tick. And just extreme lethargy, and there's not really caring. Like I don't even care if I care. It's just like this complete absence of just care. Like, I don't know, I feel like if someone were coming up like, hey, I got a gun, I'm gonna pop you in the head. Like, I don't care, whatever. Like, it's concernably careless. So, those are my symptoms. I'm gonna go over some of these. And I'll probably chime in as I go because I'm not remembering all my symptoms. Okay, all this information here comes from Penn Medicine, Penn, Penn, like Pennsylvania. First reported in 1977 in Old Lyme, Connecticut. Deer ticks, reddish brown with a black shield on its back. There's 3 stages of Lyme disease. I believe I'm at stage 2. Stage 1 is called early localized Lyme disease. So early localized Lyme disease. The bacteria hasn't spread throughout the body yet. Stage 2 is early disseminated Lyme disease. Bacteria has started coursing through the body. And stage 3 is called late disseminated Lyme disease. The bacteria have spread to distant sites such as joints and nerves. Lyme disease is untreated, man. It can mess your shit up, man. Here's the good news. A deer tick must be attached to your body for 36 to 48 hours in order to spread bacteria to your blood. So 36 to 48 hours. So what that means is if you're tick free and you go hit the woods, you're scouting or hiking, whatever, and you come home and you realize, oh crap, there's ticks on me, and you remove it, according to this, you're clear. And I've read this quite a bit on different sites. 36 to 48 hours is like the standard numbers. So if you catch it within a day and a half, you're good. As long as you remove it and remove the entire thing. Nymphal deer ticks. Nymphal is, I believe, early stage, are the size of a poppy seed. So small, they're almost impossible to see. So, geez. And there's stages. I'll try to remember to put a stage on here. There's stages of development. It's rather quick. There's like the early stage, which I want to say is when they're nymphs or nymphal, Nymphal. So if you find a deer tick on you and it's not tiny, good chance it's been there a while. Again, a poppy seed is pretty small. So if you find it as a poppy seed, which is very unlikely because it's so small, you probably caught it in time. But the odds are if you find a deer tick, big enough to feel, it's been there long enough, very likely, for you to have contracted Lyme disease. So, shit. I'm just now kind of thinking that out loud as I'm talking. I'm making sense of that. I'm like, oh shit, man, I've been lucky because I pulled some big ticks off me in the past. Many people with Lyme disease never even see or feel a tick on their body. Okay? Most people who are bitten by a tick do not get Lyme disease. I don't have a percentage. It just says most people. Okay, so symptoms of early localized or stage 1 begins days or weeks after infection. Jeez. So symptoms, so basically once you're sick, days or weeks later, you'll start getting symptoms. And most of them are flu-like. Fevers and chills, general ill feeling, headache, joint pain, muscle pain, stiff neck, and also symptoms may come and go, and a bullseye rash up to 12 inches. I will say out of the blue here lately, I've been getting a few headaches, not a whole bunch, but it's rare for me to ever get a headache, like ever. And I probably had 3 or 4 in the past month. So there's that. Joint pain. I've been doing jiu-jitsu. I started back at jiu-jitsu roughly around the same time I found the tick, hence my gi pants. Well, there's a lot of joint manipulation and whatnot, but lately my elbows have just been like achy. Like I do trades, I work with tools, I'm always doing bushcraft. So like I use my arms a lot, so my forearms and epicondyle here. Sometimes they're a little tender here, but I'm talking like the whole elbow is just like, it's just achy. In my stomach, like down here, not my actual stomach organ, which is somewhere up here, but like the lower belly, it's just like I eat half of a meal, and I'm like, I just don't feel well. And I'm concerned it's protein. Maybe my body's consuming, the Lyme disease is causing me to fight protein. But that's another thing I've heard, it's not on here, but at some point I've heard many times in life that Lyme disease will make your body semi-allergic to protein, meat, which is a big deal because I like to take care of myself. I got muscles, I like to use them. It's no point to not be strong. Strong is always good, that's what I'm saying. So for me not to be able to feed myself protein is a big, big deal. And plant proteins, I think it's soy. Soy is the only plant that has all the amino acids to build protein. All the other plants, if you want plant protein, they're not complete proteins. So you're not getting like protein. You're getting some of the things that make up a protein, but not enough to make a complete protein. So it's meat, man, animal protein. Gotta have it if you want to maximize your human output. So stage 2 symptoms occur weeks to months. So stage 1 is days to weeks. Stage 2 is weeks to months. Okay, so I could be stage 2. Let's see. Numbness or pain in the distribution of a nerve. Clear. Paralysis or weakness in the muscles of the face, especially a facial nerve palsy. That's like stroke victims, that their side of the face just kind of, the muscles aren't doing its job holding things together. It's just droopy face or palsy. Meningitis, characterized by severe headache, stiff neck, and fever. Clear on that. Heart problems such as skipped heartbeat, which can cause lightheadedness and fainting. Don't have any of that, and that can be a huge problem, especially if you're an outdoorsman, climbing a tree stand, working with a blade. You pass out. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, continues to recommend a two-tiered approach to check for antibodies to the bacteria that cause Lyme disease. It's a two-step process to get tested for Lyme disease. Antibiotics can be given if a few things are present, including the person is able to start taking the antibiotic within 72 hours of removing the tick. Not me. Yeesh. Yeah, I definitely, that's it on this. I definitely did the typical dude thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Well, I'll get to it. And 2 weeks after I saw the doctor, I finally started taking the meds. But I will say, the day I started taking the meds, it's only like a 5-day cycle. The first day, maybe 8 hours after I took the first dose, this is going to sound weird. I was just kind of in my head, and I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. Oh, I could do this in the next survival class. And then I paused and noted to myself, like, yo, dude, you just had an idea. Which sounds like I'm a damn Neanderthal. I'm not. But I swear it's been like 3.5, 4 weeks since I was able to have enough clarity or enough thinking to even have an idea. So going back to other symptoms, that was another one, was just like the ability to think and decide and care. It was gone, man. I've got jobs backed up. I've got classes I've just canceled because I'm like, guys, I can't teach. Like, I don't even know what anything is. Like sassafras, yeah, you eat it, something, whatever, man. Bushcrab, what's a lean-to? It's a bed or something. I can't even think. It's just like, it's like you have a migraine and to think is painful. It's just like that, but no pain. It's like the brain I just got nothing. I've been saying this past month, like my brain's just not braining. That about closes out my speech and information I want to share. Again, the big motivation that I want to share this, the big reason I want to share this is maybe you can catch it in time. I think I'm fine. That sounds dramatic. I think I'm fine. But maybe you watch this video and over the hunting season you get a tick bite and you're just on top of it since you watched this video. I know it's kind of a long video, but it's really important information. Could save your life or dramatically, change your life. Because if you don't know what this is, my brother got lucky. He could be at the point where he can't eat protein anymore, or without some sort of like supplement to help his body digest it and wither away. So now you know some information. Hopefully you can be smarter than me. And if you catch the symptoms, get your blood work done ASAP and take your antibiotics ASAP. I do suggest taking some probiotics along with your antibiotics, because the probiotics or the antibiotics, the broad spectrum antibiotics, pretty much kill all the bacteria in your gut. And your gut is more important than most of us even know. Your gut, whatever food you eat, if your gut isn't healthy, the food's not optimal. I'm eating all the protein. If your gut's all jacked up, you're not absorbing shit, buddy. Like, what can I put on muscle? Because you're eating a bunch of bullshit food, or you got some sort of stuff in your gut, and your nutrients or the bacteria in your gut can't break it down and absorb it into the body. So you got to have those healthy bacteria. The broad spectrum antibiotics just kill everything, the good and the bad. So you're vulnerable. So I'm supplementing with some probiotics. So as soon as I'm killing all of it, I'm getting some good probiotics in my body as well, trying to keep a healthy gut. Now you know what I say. Stay alive as long as you can. If you think you have Lyme disease, go get checked.